What's up, people? Jay here as PWFEmpire.com presents the WWE NXT TakeOver London review. I just recently finished watching the show. I didn't have the opportunity to watch the show live because the time that it aired here in my time zone, I actually was at work, busy being an American airman and saving the world one mouse click at a time. So yeah, I just finished watching the show and I want to go over a few quick thoughts on this edition of TakeOver. But before I get there, I want to remind you guys, if you have not checked out this latest episode of PWF Empire Live, please go ahead and do so. The show is on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. On this last episode, we talked about the rise of the Roman Empire, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. I love the moment. Some of my co-hosts, they did have some criticisms that they had to wage towards WWE and the way that everything went down, and we had a few debates on that. We talked about a proposed WrestleMania card, plus a lot more content on that show, so make sure you go ahead and check that out if you haven't. But I hope that you checked out PWF Empire Live, but I hope you checked out NXT TakeOver London as well, because this was honestly a good show, and I'm going to break this down piece by piece right now, giving a few thoughts on every single match that occurred at this show. So the show got started off with Asuka versus Emma, and of course Emma was accompanied by her BFF Dana Brooke. Now this match was a wild roller coaster ride for the last few minutes, because the match could have seriously ended about 3 or 4 different friggin' times. You had the time where you had the referee distraction, and Emma went for the pin on Asuka. I thought it was going to end there. Then Asuka ended up reversing it into the Asuka lock. Thought it was going to end there. Then Dana Brooke, she interferes. Emma attempts to hit Asuka with like a belt, I think it was, and Asuka ends up knocking her ass out with a kick to the face. I love Asuka. She's one of my favorite competitors in WWE right now, male or female, and I found myself watching this match, of course, loving what Asuka was doing in the match and the story that was told. But when it comes to Emma, I was saying, damn, Emma is really in there hanging with Asuka, and I had to stop and correct myself, because when you make a statement like, oh, she's in there hanging with someone, it makes it seem as if she's catching up to her, as if she's not on that upper echelon of female competitors in WWE. And I honestly believe that Emma is up there. It's just that she hasn't had the same focus and the spotlight on her in a way that a lot of the other women in WWE have, those ones down in NXT. Because I think Emma's time in the spotlight, it was kind of before NXT really got hot. And it's very easy to forget how good she is. She's one of my favorite female competitors in WWE, and I believe that she went out there and she showed that. She didn't just show that she could keep up with Asuka. She showed that she was, on her level. And I think that we had a great match as a result. And they honestly got me to the point where I could have believed Asuka was going to get her first loss since she came to NXT, but she ended up winning. Like I said, it was a damn roller coaster ride on the end, and I enjoyed all of the ups and downs of it. So we got this show started off on a really good note with Asuka and Emma. Second match of the night was the NXT Tag Team Championship match. The champions were Dash and Dawson. They were defending versus Enzo Amore and Colin Cassady. I fucking love these guys. Enzo, Big Cass, they are supremely entertaining, and I like the fact that they kind of had that little entertainment element. They put that in the back seat, and they got really serious with the build-up for this match, and that was so wonderful to see that these guys, this is their bread and butter. Anytime they come out to the ring, all they have to do is cut a quick promo, throw in some jokes and stuff like that, and people are going to love it. But them venturing outside of their comfort zone, not just that, but actually being good at it and succeeding, like that promo that they cut on the past episode of NXT where they talked about how them injuring the Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, them injuring Big Cass, that's just not some pro wrestling BS. Like, this is actually real life, and putting stakes on the line and talking about money and careers and things like that, making it real. Like, we see people be attacked in wrestling so often that I think we become desensitized to it and we forget what it actually means. Like, in the world of WWE, like, if you attack somebody and they're taking time away from wrestling and competing and being on shows and things like that, you're taking money out of their damn pocket. Like, that's what that actually means. And the fact that they communicated that in a damn good way, it really got me hyped for this match. But they did not end up winning this match. But even with that being said, me being big fans of them, I still enjoyed the ride that we were taking on in this match and the story that was told, because you had a match that unfolded in a way where they were going back and forth at the beginning, and it was fun. I was into it then, but it's like as the match rolled on, the drama got higher and higher, and I got more invested in the match as a result, because when you see them beating down Enzo, and you just know at some point he's going to get that hot tag, and they're just going to go on this big swing of momentum, and it's going to push them all the way to victory in the end, but they did not get it. And the last person who I guess was available on Enzo and Cass's team was actually Enzo, and they fooled me into believing for a quick second that Enzo would actually win the match for his team, because Colin was taken out on at ringside, and Enzo jumps up to the top rope, and I'm like, oh shit, is Enzo actually going to win this for his team? Who the fuck am I kidding? No, he's not, but, and I guess he didn't. But, that moment at the end of the match where they went for Air Enzo, and then I believe it was Scott Dawson who pulled Enzo off of the cover, that was all good stuff. Like, that really got me hyped and invested in the match. Hopefully they'll win it at another time, but we're going to keep rolling on to the next match that we're going to be discussing here. Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. These two are two of my favorite guys in NXT. Yes, you heard that right. Like, of course, Apollo Crews, he's probably everybody's favorite, or at least up there, one of the favorites. Baron Corbin, that guy has improved immensely. I remember looking at him and saying, this is just a project from WWE, a project that is actually going to result in a big fat F. But as time rolled on, I saw Baron Corbin evolve, and I like the gimmick that he has. He's just a straight up asshole, and he doesn't care whether you like him or not. Like, he's going to be that asshole. He's going to be arrogant. He's going to think he's the biggest guy in the room. He's going to think he's the best guy in the damn room, and that he's entitled to everything. And if you get into his way, he's going to chop you down. I really like that aspect of his character. And speaking of that character, there was one point in the match where he yelled to Apollo Crews, "You should have stayed in Ring of Honor." And I saw a few people on Twitter, they were saying somebody should tell Baron Corbin that Apollo Crews was never in Ring of Honor. And I'm just sitting there like, no, somebody should tell you that Baron Corbin does not give a fuck. Like, that's the whole point. Like, Baron Corbin, his character is to not give a damn about the indies. He looks at them, all of the companies, and they're all nondescript. How is one different from the other? Like, how is Ring of Honor different from Dragon Gate USA or Evolve or anything like that? Like, that is his character. He's looking at that, and he's like, why the hell would I want to wrestle in gyms in front of 50 people when I can jump straight to the big leagues? And that is ingrained in who Baron Corbin is, and I think that that's amazing that he has that gimmick, because the NXT creative team, they have their fingers on the pulse of what's going on. Like, NXT has evolved into like a hub for the indies. You have people like Apollo Crews down there, you had Neville down there, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, a lot of people who have been in the indies, they've made their way to NXT, and to have someone who stands in opposition to those guys, to have someone who stands in opposition to that mindset, I think that that's awesome. And this match was pretty good too. I love the way that same character that Baron Corbin has, it's incorporated into his in-ring moveset, and you could see the aggression and that intensity in the moves that he does in the ring. And of course, Apollo Crews, he's awesome as always. What was one moment in this match that it was the reversal of the end of days, where Apollo did like this fucking backflip, and then I think it was an enziguri, and then a standing moonsault. Great stuff. Oh my god, I friggin' love that. That was an awesome moment in the match. And then when you get to the ending of the match, you had Baron Corbin hit him with the end of days, so he was successful this time around. And I just knew those last 3 seconds of that match, they were going to be impactful, because either A, Baron Corbin was going to beat Apollo Crews, or B, Apollo Crews was going to kick out of the end of days. And no matter which way it went, those were big moments for me. And it ended up going the way of Baron Corbin beating Apollo Crews, which was pretty surprising to me. But overall, very solid match with two of my favorite guys in NXT. And I believe that this one turned out well for both guys. Great effort on both sides. Now, we move on to the NXT Women's Championship match. This was champion Bayley defending versus Nia Jax. If you have been watching me on PWF Empire Live, if you've been seeing some of the NXT reviews that I've done, I love the NXT Women's Division. It's been, my favorite part of WWE as a whole for a good stretch of time. And there was just this run that the NXT Women's Division was going on where every match was better than the last. Every championship match was better than the last. We've gotten to a point right now where 3 of the 4 horsewomen are up on the main roster, and you have pretty much Bayley left. So it's kind of like the division is in a restructuring period, and I definitely felt that in this match because I just couldn't get into it. And it has absolutely nothing to do with Bayley because that's my homegirl. I'm putting it 100% on Nia Jax because the thing is about her, from the very first moment that I saw her in NXT, something was off. Whatever it is that she's selling, I am not buying it in any way, shape, or form. And I guess this is one of those situations where NXT, what we've grown to know it as, this super indie, in a match like this is where that, indie federation takes a backseat and we move, that we got to remember it's developmental in this case, I guess, because that one word, developmental, it says a whole hell of a lot. That's a loaded word in this case because I look at Nia Jax and that's not a finished product to me. That's not a finished product at all. I don't buy anything that she's selling. And it's so weird to be in a situation where you see someone so physically imposing like her, yet and still, I don't buy any of the action in the match. Like, I don't even know how to exactly explain it. It's just like, for example, none of the moves feel dangerous or powerful or anything like that. It's like she isn't comfortable in who she is quite yet. And I don't know if that's a story that WWE is aware of and they want to pick up off of that, because I did notice during the match there was one point where they mentioned the commentator specifically mentioned the inexperience of Nia Jax when she went for a cover on Bayley, and she actually put her foot on her chest, so she didn't even get down and hook the leg or anything like that. And the commentators were talking about that's the inexperience of Nia Jax showing right there, because you never do a pin without hooking the leg of the champion or whatever it is that they said. I don't know if that's a story that they're going to pick up off of, and we're going to see, a journey and evolution of Nia Jax into the monster that she is supposed to be, because it's like when I look at her now, I don't see a monster. I see somebody who's big, but I see somebody who doesn't know what to do with that size. Like, she has the moves and everything, but it's just that none of them click with me. None of them connect. I think the only one that actually did was when she went for that first Samoan drop in the match. That's the only one that I was like, damn, Bayley is really in trouble there. And if the entire match is built around me having to believe that Bayley is in trouble, she's in danger, and I can't buy your action, that makes it very difficult for me to get into the match, and I didn't get into the match at all. Now, if you did buy the action of Nia Jax, you probably thought that this was a good match, but it's just that I didn't. I'll give Bayley her props on being a very scrappy champion, coming back with the victory in the end, but it's just that I couldn't get into it. I can't get into Nia Jax. I don't buy it. And we're going to move from one championship match to another. This was the main event of the night. It was Finn Bálor putting the NXT Championship on the line versus Samoa Joe. And damn it, this match was friggin' awesome from start to finish with a whole hell of a lot of greatness all the way through. And I just want to mention this one thing, because I found it very interesting that after this match was over and Finn Bálor, he won, he retained his championship, the commentators were talking about how this was like Godzilla versus King Kong. And I found that very interesting because earlier on in the match, they were mentioning how there was like a 100-pound weight difference between Finn Bálor and Samoa Joe. And what's so interesting about that to me is that you have those two things. You put one of them in your hand over here and the other over here, and you're like, this dude weighs 100 pounds less than this other guy. So how the hell is this a situation where it's King Kong versus Godzilla. And I realized that the reason is because that demon persona of Finn Balor, that enlarges his presence. Like, that makes up the difference there. And I think that's so amazing that he has a persona that could do that, where you're going into a match with a significant disadvantage, but the persona that you create around yourself, it makes you legit. It puts you on an even playing field. And I love the fact that this match wasn't booked in a way where Finn Balor was an underdog or anything like that, where they shied away from him waging offense against Samoa Joe. And I don't know if that was an intention of the booking, or maybe it could be me just reading too much into it, but I would love to believe that demon persona, it played into making up the difference in stature of Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. I think that's a very interesting angle to explore there. And speaking of some angles to explore, one of my favorite parts of this match was Finn Balor reversing the coquina clutch with a fucking double foot stomp. Now, if you did not see this match, you're probably in your mind right now saying, how the hell did that happen? How does that make sense? Reversing that into a double foot stomp? Yes, he did it. And it was amazing. If you didn't see it and you're racking your brain trying to figure out how did that happen, go see that damn match. You need to see that match. It was that awesome. And then there was another point in the match. This was Samoa Joe on offense this time around. He did a powerbomb into a Boston Crab, into the crossface. And, I mean, this was like nearly seamless. Just butter. Smooth as hell. That damn Samoa Joe, he's something amazing. The way that guy, and you probably heard it time and time again, he's as big as he is, but he gets into the ring and he moves around like a cruiserweight. Like this whole sequence of the match was awesome. And I talked about a roller coaster ride in the first match of the night. There was one in the last match of the night too, when they were battling each other on the ring post, and they were, jockeying for positioning and things like that. Finn Balor ends up getting the win in what was an amazing match. If you did not see Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe, go out of your way to check out this match. Overall, this was a really entertaining show. I hate comparing it. Like, I hate doing this thing where it's like, okay, now it's a time that I compare it to another show, and like throw sand on this one. Like, I don't want to do that. I guess I have to say that if I was ranking them, like, the last two NXT specials would definitely be above this one, but I don't think that it takes anything away from this one. I damn sure enjoyed myself from start to finish watching NXT TakeOver London, and all in all, this was a really good show. Another great outing from NXT. What we have to look forward next is Sami Zayn returning to NXT next week, and I can't wait to see how everything turns out. I think NXT is in a really good position now, and if they keep up this trend that they have been on with the time in between the specials, and they keep giving us things to look forward to and keep giving us good action and good stories and payoffs and things like that, NXT is we're in for some good stuff. Just gotta wait and see how it all plays out, and that's definitely something that I am looking forward to doing. So thank you guys for tuning in to this video. I'm out of here. I will see you on the next episode of PWF Empire Live, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/PWF Empire and PWFempire.com. Peace.